91.3 FM.
This is Class 91.3.
Hello, it's midday. Good afternoon. Welcome to 12 Live Radio on Class 91.3 FM in Accra and affiliates across the country. If you are listening to us in the Volta region, this is Ho FM. Dagbon FM 102.5 is speaking the bulletin live on Tamale Radio 192.1 in the Upper West region, Radio Power 96 in Spain, around the world. Join us on classfmonline.com. Coming up in this bulletin, government repatriates 327 Ghanaians stranded in Cote d'Ivoire. We have details. The Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni hails Legal Education Act as major reforms in Ghana's legal sector.
Legal education in Ghana must be characterized not merely by institutional excellence, but by institutional cooperation.
PBC workers protest 27 months of unpaid salaries. Also, legal questions mount over Chairman Wuntumi's legal withdrawal.
The reasons why I'm withdrawing my services from this process is stated in our affidavit in support of the motion. And I must say that I'm disappointed with decisions of the court. And I'm disappointed with the attitude of the court. When I withdraw my services, I'm at liberty to engage another.
Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Nita Tetete says plea bargain law is not meant to spare accused from jail amid Chairman Wuntumi's Exim Bank case debate.
The fact that you pray for plea bargain does not mean you will not go to jail. It also does not mean that your sentencing may be reduced. So, in the law, it says that you may even pray for plea bargaining and your sentencing may even be increased.
Also coming up, Member of Parliament for Fuase Ayuribi calls for overhaul of the country's youth employment strategy.
We do not need more slogans or promises that results in the pipeline. What we need are more effective ways by which we can solve the worsening youth unemployment problem in our country.
Also coming up in African news, South Africa trolled by African fans in wake of World Cup loss.
It was a fantastic game. It deserved an opening match at the FIFA World Cup, and most of us were expecting Mexico to give it to our neighbors, that is South Africa, and they did exactly what we expected.
This plus many other stories coming up in the next 30 minutes.
I am Elizabeth Aidoo.
And I am Veronica Amade.
Now let's settle for the details of the news. Now, government has begun repatriating 327 Ghanaians stranded in Cote d'Ivoire after a demolition exercise in the Port Bouillet municipality of Abidjan left many homeless and without livelihoods. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs shares this in a statement, and my colleague Zito Kwan joins me in studio with details of that statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Zita, run us through.
Well, Lizzie, what we need to know is that the mass demolition exercise in Port Bouillet municipality of Abidjan officially began at dawn on Tuesday, June 2 this year. And the clearance was carried out by the autonomous district of Abidjan to clear informal settlements from high risk and flood prone areas. So the destruction displaced tens of thousands of residents, leaving many stranded and prompting the government of Ghana to repatriate hundreds of affected Ghanaian nationals. And the statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that all 327 Ghanaian nationals were previously residing in areas affected by the demolition exercise and became stranded, having lost their source of livelihood and lacking the means to secure alternative accommodation in Cote d'Ivoire. He says that the arrangements have been concluded for the remaining Ghanaian nationals to return home today, June 12, 2026. It says that government of Ghana has provided buses and trucks to convey Ghanaian nationals and their belongings free of charge back to Ghana. It says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wish to acknowledge that Ivorian authorities have expressed desire to compensate the victims of their demolition exercise and shall therefore remain actively engaged on the matter to ensure that the promised compensation is received by the affected nationals. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Zita, for the details of that statement. Let's do some other stories, and Veronica brings details on that.
Well, workers of PBC Limited are demanding urgent government intervention after going more than 2 years without salaries, piling pressure on authorities to fulfill pledges to revive the once dominant cocoa purchasing company. In a statement issued Thursday, June 11, 2026, the unions accused the government of failing to act on repeated assurances that PBC would be restored to its position as Ghana's premier licensed cocoa buyer. President John Dramani Mahama and Finance Minister Dr. Kaswa Toforsen had publicly pledged to reposition the company during 2024 campaign, and after the elections, the workers say conditions have worsened despite those promises. Workers have gone without salary payments for more than 27 months. The union stated, citing severe hardship for employees and their families. Casual staff, they added, have gone over 36 months without allowances. The unions also flagged inadequate working capital as disrupting operations and weakening PBC competitiveness. They further called on government to either return the Bwepwe share processing factory, a PBC subsidiary, or take its associated debt off the company's books.
We'll bring you details on that story subsequently. Let's move away from that because Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni has hailed the passage of the Legal Education Act 2026, Act 1170, describing it as a landmark reform that has the potential to reshape legal training and expand opportunities for aspiring lawyers in the country. According to him, the focus should not merely be on regulatory compliance, but on building robust governance structures capable of safeguarding academic excellence and professional integrity. The legislation, which was approved by Parliament in March and subsequently assented to by the President John Dramani Mahama last month, is expected to improve access to legal education while enhancing the quality and relevance of professional legal training. Addressing a column on legal education reforms under the theme Implementing the Legal Education Act 2026, the institutional readiness, acceleration and future of legal training, the Chief Justice called for stronger collaboration among universities, law facilities and other stakeholders to ensure legal scholarship contributes meaningfully to addressing national development challenges. He urged institutions offering legal education to take proactive steps towards implementing the reform, stressing that the success would depend largely on their preparedness to meet the new standards and expectations established under the Act.
Legal education in Ghana must be characterized not merely by institutional excellence, but by institutional cooperation. Our law faculties must increasingly see one another as partners in a common enterprise. There should be opportunities for collaborative research on pressing national issues. Faculties should work together on questions relating to constitutional development, judicial reform, environmental governance, artificial intelligence, commercial regulation and corruption strategies, natural resources management, and access to justice. Joint conferences, shared academic programs, faculty exchanges, collaborative publications, and inter-university moot competitions should become regular features of our legal education landscape.
That's Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni. Now, the legal battle involving the Ashanti Regional Chairman for the New Patriotic Party, Chairman Bernard Entry-Bosiako, known as Chairman Wuntumi, has taken a new turn after his lawyer Andy Appiah-Kubi withdrew from the contaminating criminal case, citing concerns over the conduct of the proceedings. The development comes as Chairman Wuntumi is also pursuing a legal bargain in separate alleged Exim Bank fraud case. The Office of the Attorney General has informed the Accra High High Court that the accused, through his legal team, has initiated discussions under the Ghana's plea bargaining framework in an effort to resolve the matter. Explaining his decision to step aside, the lawyer Andy Apiakubi said he had lost confidence in continuing with the defense due to concerns over the court's handling of the case, including aspects of the records of proceedings and certain rulings made during the trial.
The reasons why I'm withdrawing my services from this process is stated in our affidavit in support of the motion. And I'm saying that I'm disappointed with decisions of the court, and I'm disappointed with the attitude of the court. When I withdraw my services, he is at liberty to engage another counsel. He is at liberty to do his case by himself, and he is at liberty to even apply to government for support by way of legal aid. So I'm sure he will take a decision when we get there. I'm not happy with, particularly when I have made application for the court to order the prosecution to provide me with copies of the alleged assignment. Instead of the court making the order, the court dismissed my application. I expected the court to make that order for the prosecution to come and say that this is a copy of the assignment, or I don't have it at all, for her to come to a conclusion that there is no assignment. So that conclusive position we have is based on presumptions that since they could not provide the assignment, there is a presumption that it doesn't exist. But I expected the court to make the order directed at the prosecution to provide that assignment, or come to the court and say that there is no such assignment. For the court to record that there is no such assignment, and that brings finality to the charges on assignment. I think the court is getting personal with me as counsel, and therefore my absence may warrant an engagement of a new counsel. And probably
Class
new counsel
91.3 FM
will be able to freely interact with the court.
That's the lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, Andy Apiakubi. Now reacting on plea bargaining issues, private legal practitioner Tete says while plea bargaining is a legitimate legal mechanism that can help recover state funds and expedite criminal proceedings, it does not automatically shield an accused person from imprisonment. He explained that the court remains at his discretion to impose a custodial sentence depending on the terms of any agreement and the seriousness of the offenses. Let's go on the line and speak to the counsel to get more details on the Andy Apiakubi leaving the court case for Chairman Wontumi. Good afternoon, counsel. Counsel, the Chairman Wotumi's lawyer, Andy Apiakubi, has to withdraw from representing him in the middle of the trial. What do you make of that?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say good afternoon to your listeners. Well, every lawyer can decide to let go of a case of his client or not. A client can always change the lawyer at any point in time. So it is not news for a lawyer to, end to withdraw his solicitorship from a case. So, it's not news. The most important thing is that who is the new lawyer who is going to handle Wontumi's case? That's the most important thing. I'm sure my senior, the Apiakubi, has done his best. He started with the case. Wherever he's got into, he has his reasons for withdrawing solicitorship. But as I said, it's not news if a lawyer withdraws his solicitorship or a lawyer or a client changes his lawyer to another lawyer. The most important thing is that if the client's case, he can decide to change any lawyer at any point in time. So the focus should be who is the new lawyer for Wontumi and what does he have in the offering. But in any case, as we speak, the trial is almost done. The date for sentencing has been given, but because of the plea bargaining prayer, and that date will be put on hold so that the court will wait to see what will come out from the plea negotiations when there are
So are you saying there's no legal implication when a lawyer decides to withdraw from a case that he's handling?
The lawyer, there's no
Class 91.3
It's
FM.
the client that hires a lawyer, not a lawyer hiring a client. So if a client hires a lawyer and says that today I don't want this lawyer, the lawyer has nothing to say but to excuse himself. Or if the client does not listen to the lawyer can decide that based on the strategies that I'm advising my client to do, he's failed to do so. I want to withdraw my solicitorship. There's no legal implications. As I said, a lawyer can be changed at any point in time. So it is not a big deal. And I want to stress that it is not news for a lawyer to withdraw a solicitorship of the matter. Just a matter of finding another lawyer for the case to proceed.
All right. Thank you so much for that clarification. That as a private legal practitioner, Tete now also weighing in on the pre-bargaining issue. The chief crusader of Crusaders Against Corruption, Emmanuel Wilson, has cautioned against allowing plea bargaining to become a safe haven for persons accused of corruption. He argues that although the process can help recover public funds and reduce delay in the justice system, it must also be accompanied by meaningful sanctions to deter wrongdoings and preserve public confidence in the administration of justice.
So if there's no punishment, plea bargaining will rather end up becoming an avenue where people would deliberately want to engage in corrupt practices, knowing very well that they take profits, and when they are caught, they will just come and pay some money in the name of interest, and they'll just they'll go scot-free.
Should we? I've heard many say that we should change the law that accepts plea bargaining. But what can the CSOs do to discourage government in accepting plea bargaining?
I think that we don't have to change the laws. Neither do we have to discourage. What we should rather do is to vary the law or amend the law in such a way that plea bargaining shouldn't be an absolute solution. It should be plea bargaining with a minimum sentencing or a minimal punishment.
That's Chief Crusader of Crusaders Against Corruption, Emmanuel Wilson.
Moving on to some other stories, Parent Teacher Association of Secondary College says it will petition the West African Examination Council to allow 154 WASI candidates who were prevented from writing their chemistry theory and objective paper to take the examination. The students were reportedly denied entry to the examination hall on Wednesday after arriving late due to heavy rainfall in the Secondary Takoradi metropolis. PTA says it would also seek the intervention of the West Regional Minister to help resolve the matter. According to the association, some of the affected candidates arrived at the examination center just minutes after the paper had begun but were refused entry by an external invigilator. The association argues that the students should have been allowed to write the examination with the time loss deducted from the duration of the paper rather than being denied the opportunity to get that. We'll bring you more updates subsequently in our bulletin. Let's do some other stories.
The ranking member on Parliament's Economy and Development Committee and Member of Parliament for Ofuase and Yoruba Kojo Ponkroma has proposed a 5-point strategy to address Ghana's growing youth unemployment crisis, warning that the current interventions are not delivering the desired results. Speaking on the floor of Parliament on the rising unemployment situation in the country, the Member of Parliament described the youth unemployment as one of the country's most urgent socio-economic challenges and called for a more effective and accountable approach to job creation, while acknowledging that successive governments have grappled with the challenges. Kojo Ponkroma stressed that the country must move beyond promises and adopt a practical solution capable of creating sustainable employment opportunities.
First, we need to anchor every job program on published delivery scorecards with clear metrics on beneficiaries, the cost of these jobs, the time to placement, and the employment retention. Second, we need to separate skills development from job creation, and we need to fund both separately. Training people without creating demand for their skills only manufactures disappointment. Number three, Mr. Speaker, we have to shift the funding model from sovereign financing to private-public partnerships. Government should focus on de-risking, co-investing, and creating regulatory clarity while private capital drives the large-scale job creation that we need. Number four, Mr. Speaker, we need to make the apprenticeship economy the spine of the youth employment strategy through national certification, employer co-funding, and clear pathways into employment or self-employment. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I propose that we need to build a credible labor market information system for the Republic of Ghana, which will publish timely district-level data on vacancies, sectoral demand, skills gaps, and graduate absorption to guide policy and budget decisions. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we do not need more slogans or promises that results in the pipeline. What we need are more effective ways by which we can solve the worsening youth unemployment problem in our country. The Ghana Statistical Service data is clear. The youth unemployment problem is getting worse, and the time to act is now. I thank Mr. Speaker for the opportunity.
That's the ranking on Parliament Economy and Development Committee and Member of Parliament for Ofuase Ayerbi, Kojo Opon Kroma.
Now let's do some other stories in Africa, because the normal display of African unity in the early stages of Football World Cup was notably absent from social media, as many fans from across the continent backed Mexico in the tournament's opening match against South Africa. The memes were light-hearted, including samba ball, mariachi bands and tacos, but they pointed to a dark and deadly. The banter reflected anger over the reports of xenophobic violence in South Africa. A poor South African performance on the pitch led to a 2-0 defeat against the World Cup co-hosts. As the final whistle blew, social media lit up with a flood of mocking posts, but some South African pushed back, praising the spirit of their team. Nicknamed Bafana Bafana, South Africa is one of the 10 African teams at the year's expanded World Cup, with the US and Canada co-hosting along with Mexico. Ahead of the Thursday's match, some African football fans justified their support for Mexico by linking it to the current tensions in South Africa over migration. So what do Ghanaians make of this match? We spoke to a session of the public.
It was a fantastic game. It deserved an opening match at the FIFA World Cup, and most of us were expecting Mexico to give it to our neighbors, that is South Africa, and they did exactly what we expected. So kudos to the Mexicans. And aside that, their women are too beautiful, so they made the game very, very adorable to watch. So kudos to Mexico. And our message to South Africans is that their next two games, we go again against them, they will surely come home and then protect their businesses. So I think the game was good.
Well, you heard some of the section of the public and the defeat of South Africa and Mexico.
Let's go to our earlier story and speak with the Parent and Teachers Association on the call for some students who are writing WASI who were prevented from writing because they came into the examination hall late. Good afternoon, Mr. Arinsam.
Good afternoon.
Mrs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you are petitioning for the WAEC to allow 154 WASI candidates who were prevented from writing in this ongoing WASI to be given the opportunity to write again. So what are you looking for, and how do you expect them to be let in to write again on the same paper?
Well, good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. Actually, we as a council have not petitioned anybody yet. We are still looking at the matter and seeing where the whole thing came up from and what measures we can take. So let me put on record that we as a council have not issued any statement in that direction yet.
So what happens if WAEC does not allow this 154 candidates to write the paper that they missed?
Well, we all know that prior to the examination, we're giving briefings as to the do's and the don'ts. And our wards were privy to this kind of arrangement that for WAEC exams, you should be seated 30 minutes before the paper starts. And that has been the rule all over from time to time. So when you are late, you are late. That is what we have been told. And looking at the issue happening in Western region, I think we just want to take a critical look at it. Moving forward, it is not just one time, but we are seeing the thing that it has been happening. So we just want to take our time and then look at the issue very well before we can really speak to it. But we know that for WAEC standards, you shouldn't be late for the exam. nothing should keep you late for the exam. You should be there 30 minutes before the start of the paper. And they have adhered to that rule all over, even this time that they are writing the WASI. So going through this kind of thing, whereby they didn't arrive at the time that they have to be there, we just have to investigate and see why they have to arrive late. And then whatever issue that they're of, then we can also know the right measures to take.
All right, thank you so much. That's the Public Relations Officer for the Parent Teachers Association, Irene Sam.
Let's do some other stories. The Member of Parliament for Tolon Habib Idrisu is calling for a bipartisan parliamentary committee to investigate a controversial award scheme amid allegations that some government ministers pay to receive honours. The call follows growing public concern over the credibility of the award ceremony after claims emerged that some recipients may have paid for recognition. Responding to the proposal on the floor of Parliament, Speaker Alban Barben expressed support for an investigation but urged the minority to follow the appropriate parliamentary procedures in seeking the formation of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to appeal to your good office because, you see, listening to the issue I raised and the contribution and the response from the minister in charge of government communication, he did admit that government have issued a statement to this matter. It's a serious issue. Mr. Speaker, if you can kindly direct that we should set up a committee to investigate. Mr. Speaker, to investigate. Mr. Speaker, we should... Mr. Speaker, a bipartisan committee to investigate this matter and see the criteria for the award. Mr. Speaker, we deserve to know the truth. We deserve to know the truth. So let's set up a committee to investigate it, see the criteria, see who have paid and who have not been able to pay, and then we can move on from there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You know what to do
if
you want Parliament to take action on this matter. When you come properly, we'll definitely take the action. With this, we'll leave it at this stage.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Tolon Habib Idrisu.
Now, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Value Bill 2025, popularly known as the Anti-LGBTQ+ Bill, could still return to the floor of Parliament despite its passage, according to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Barben, who says members of Parliament can initiate a process to review the legislation under the House Standing Orders. His remark comes in the wake of Parliament approval of the legislation, a development that has prompted renewed calls from some quarters for further reflection on this provision. Speaking during a courtesy visit by members of the Supreme Court's 150th Anniversary Planning Committee yesterday, Alban Barben explained that Parliament's rules allow lawmakers to introduce a motion seeking to reverse or reconsider a previous decision of the House, including one relating to the controversial bill. He rejected suggestions that the Parliament has reached a deadlock over the bill, maintaining that establishing parliamentary proceedings provides clear avenue for further action that could be taken in the House deemed necessary.
Short my recent comments about the bill that was passed recently as reference of fairness, but I still hold my view. A recent debate where some lawyers came out strongly to say that by the Constitution, once a law is passed on the floor, Parliament is functus officio. It's not the law. And because we have what we call passage process before you send it to the President for assent. And that is why in the Constitution, there's no time limit given to Parliament after passage to submit to the President for assent. And on many occasions, we usually identify some inconsistencies or some errors, and then we go back to the House where they refer to as second reconsideration stage. You use the process called rescission, a motion of rescission to rescind the decision of having read the bill third time, and then use that to do it. In fact, we are very soon going to use it in connection with the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill, which was passed in March. And so we have that process of self-regulation or self-correction. So it's
That's the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bowing. Now, are you ready to review your fortune? Review Scratch for winners here to change your life for good. Just dial *850*5# and win up to 1 million Ghana cedis or more in cash prizes instantly. It's easy, it's exciting, and it's regulated by the National Lottery Authority. Simply dial *850*5# to play now on all network. Choose your station to play the game. Select a stake amount from 5 cedis to 2,000 Ghana cedis. Choose your lucky card out of 5 options. Confirm gameplay and enter your Momo pin. Receive your game results and winnings instantly. It's easy, fun, and exciting. Get ready to scratch, win, and live your best life with Review Scratch for Win up to 1 million Ghana cedis up for grabs. Review Scratch for Win, Scratch Keke. Nadisika Seibam.
Electroland Ghana Limited Achedie Kesia is giving you weekly and monthly big rewards when you buy Samsung, TCL Media and Nasco Electronics anywhere in Ghana and from any authorized dealer or reseller. Just buy your LED Smart TV, split AC, double door fridges, auto grill gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwaves, blenders, mobile phones and more from Samsung, TCL Media and Nasco, and dial *928*8888# or go to register.electrolandraffles.com to enter our weekly and monthly draws. Electroland Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way.
That's how we wrap up 12 Live right on Class 91.3 FM. For more news and updates, do log on to classfmonline.com. The team will be back on 5:05 with Kwame Ochi Jr. Do stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Elizabeth Aidoo.
And I am Veronica Amade.
Have a good afternoon.